An interesting conversation I had with a coworker of mine who happens to be a conservative inspired me to do the video that I'm about to show you guys right now. And it has to do with gold, as in the metal, the element, gold. So what about gold? Well, the conversation we had was, sort of using money as we use it today versus using gold, maybe even silver or diamonds, whatever. But gold is typically what's sought after and used in this respect, historically speaking. There are some people still around the world who feel that that we should be using the gold standard around the world. We should all be trading in gold and not trading with paper or even in the digital realm. So let's go over this. Let's separate the science from the fiction when it comes to gold. Well, scientifically speaking, gold is elemental. It's atomic. It's its own element. So, you have it on the periodic table. There's nothing else to it. It's not an alloy. It's not any combination of any other elements. It is all its own. And what makes it so attractive is not just its color, not just its, sheen, but also its resistance to corrosion and its ability to conduct electricity. It is a conductor a lot like copper. And it can be used for many things. It's actually been suggested, I believe, that gold could be used as a part in an engine of some kind, since it is a conductor of electricity. So gold in batteries, that's actually not out of the question. We typically like to go for lithium nowadays, and I think there was even an interesting thing about batteries. There was someone who had this little study done and was like, okay, maybe diamonds and toxic waste could be used to run batteries. That was interesting. Anyway, so the scientific part of gold, it's a metal. You can use it for a lot of things, conduct electricity. It doesn't corrode. But what about the fictional part of it? Well, the fictional part of it is what we tend to pay attention to the most. Historically speaking, humans have placed value on gold. And that's what people say all the time. Gold is valuable. Gold is sought after. It is valuable. It's valuable. Everybody just accepts it. But understand something. Did gold have value prior to human beings being alive? Prior to any species being alive that could place value on gold? The answer is no. The other thing is we think gold is just a part of the earth. Well, there are some theories kicking around out there that suggest that either it was the Big Bang, if you believe in that one, or asteroid strikes could have left gold deposits on the planet. So some scientists may believe that gold is actually extraterrestrial and is not indigenous to this planet. I actually found that to be pretty fascinating. But be that as it may, is that the fictional part was that, well, we can use gold to trade for goods and services. There were several things missing from this assessment. Gold cannot reproduce in nature. It's metallic. It's not organic. Human beings are organic. We do reproduce, as do the natural resources we need to survive. Food, basically. The cotton to make our clothes, and so on, and hemp to make whatever else, so on and so forth, those types of things. Gold cannot do that. And gold is limited in supply. Whereas if everything reproduces, if the cycle of nature is properly maintained, it has the ability to go on indefinitely, or at least almost indefinitely. But gold, no, can't do that. So why are we using a limited inanimate object to trade for goods and services when we, the users, are organic, when we can expand and contract our population? That doesn't seem to fit. If you have an expanding population particularly, using a limited supply of something like gold just creates a distribution problem. And that's why money was a better alternative. Even though, like, way back in the day, money was just a note of debt, really. It was used to pay off debts. And then when you exchange that note, the person you pay it to would get gold, or you could redeem the note for gold or even silver. I think JFK wanted to bring the dollar back to be redeemable in silver. Well, so much for that plan, back and to the left. But the fact that gold is limited makes it an inadequate substance to use to trade for goods and services, no matter how valuable someone thinks it is. The reason is because human activity and people being alive in general and needing this stuff to exchange for goods and services, because that's just how we operate, that poses a distribution problem, and you have a growing number of people fighting over a limited pie. Okay? That on its face is like, whoa, you're setting yourself up for disaster. So back in the day, what they started doing was they started weighing money, stacks of bills, against an ounce of gold and the little teeter-totter things. You guys have probably seen those before. Well, that was kind of a silly thing to do, because the more money you printed, the more it was heavier than the gold, then the more you needed to purchase something. This really never made sense to me. So the fiction here is that, well, gold is the best thing to trade for goods and services. It's most valuable. I got news for you guys. Value on gold is totally arbitrary. It didn't happen until we assigned it. And how did we assign it? Well, when you assign value to anything, be it gold, be it your favorite partner, be it a piece of technology you like, type of music you like, type of food, whatever, it's totally up to you. It's totally in your head. It's not some law of nature. So without human beings to covet and assign value to something, it's just there. It's just there. So gold is not really valuable until we place value on it. Now, scientifically, again, yeah, you can use it for many different things. But the myth that gold is the standard that we need to be using is really rooted in a misunderstanding of the nature of gold and linking in that with the nature of people. You have organic versus inorganic. You have infinite potential versus limited supply. It doesn't mesh. That can't work. And this leads me into something that I learned about over the past couple of months, which was that China and Japan are experimenting with strictly digital currency systems. Now, I'm actually in support of this. And why is that? Again, because human beings require resources to survive. Gold is limited. You can't use gold. You even run out of printing money if you run out of the materials to print physical dollars with. But digital, numbers are infinite in cyberspace. You can create as many as you need. And that's the point. So the idea of conforming to a system revolving around a fixed supply of wealth, it loses all rationale at this point. And now you can just go, okay, wherever the activity is occurring in our society, that's where we can put whatever money we can create, and it won't lose value. Sounds good, right? That's a lot like the $100 system. In fact, the $100 system could be a strictly digital currency if we wanted it to be, or a physical, or both. But I really think Japan and China are doing the right thing here. I think they have the right idea in saving on physical resources. I think there's potential here. I am really interested to see what the results are whenever they start coming out with them. But gold, it's rooted in this primitive covetousness. We see something attractive. We like it. We want it. We're not sure how much else is out there. And then we want it all for ourselves. It takes a lot to pry it from our fingers. I'll give you this for the gold. Okay, well now the person who had the gold and has something else, they want something else. They have no gold. What do? They try to work for the gold. But people who have the gold, like, well, what if I never get this gold back? And then you see the problem here, right? It's just a precipitous cycle of fear and uncertainty that comes with a limited supply of something. That's why the gold standard was flawed, and why we should never really go back to it. So, I felt inspired to do that video based on a conversation with a friend I had. So I hope you found this interesting, and I'll be back later.